Hey, and welcome everyone to Season 4 of the Ruin Hammer live show, where we talk all things One New Zealand Warriors. Thank you all for joining us. Firstly, our apologies for not doing the live show last week. Unfortunately, we were both unavailable with certain family commitments on the Wednesday, and then with games on both Tuesday and Thursday, there just wasn't really another window of opportunity to do the show. But don't panic. Tonight we're going to be discussing both the Round 8 loss to the Storm and the Round 9 loss to the Roosters. Joining me tonight, as usual, is my good mate and co-host, Warrior Roo. Rob, how are you tonight, mate? How's your week been?
Yeah, doing really well, thanks, mate. Great to be back after a week off, as you said. So as I mentioned last time, I'm in the middle of a 6-week challenge. Well, this is actually my 3rd week into a 6-week challenge, so I put it out there for a bit of extra accountability from you guys, sort of on my weight loss journey. And, so this is the 3rd weekend. I've had some good days and I've had some bad days, but mostly good days. So, pretty happy about that, getting plenty of exercise in, plenty of walks and exercise sessions, eating probably 80% good, 20% bad. NRL season is always a bit of a struggle for me because when I watch footy, I eat. You know, the ad, Sterlo's finally realised that footy's better with a feed. Well, I've always known footy's better with a feed, unfortunately.
Yep.
So, but it's going well so far, and looking to have a big finish and get below that 100 kg mark. So, as I said, I can fit back into my jerseys again.
Are you an anxious eater, mate? Because if you are, you'd be anxiously eating every time the Warriors play.
No, the funny thing is, I can't eat when I'm watching the Warriors games because when I'm like nervous and got that adrenaline sort of pumping, I can't eat. And I don't like to drink. I don't like to drink when I'm watching the Warriors either. So yeah, but each to their own. Each to their own, mate. How about yourself? How's your week been, and how's everything with your dad?
Yeah, mate. Just on that, firstly, I don't drink when the Warriors play either, and I think that's because in previous seasons we haven't had much luck on the field, and I think drinking, I would have been throwing beer bottles at my television screen, and I can't really afford to go out and buy a TV every week. So, mate, my week's been pretty good. Had my daughter Britt down from Queensland over the weekend, which was really good to catch up with her and see her. She came down, obviously, to visit Dad. So we had all the kids go over there on the weekend and see him. He's out of hospital now, and mate, you know, I don't know how to put it into words because everything looks doom and gloom one day, and then the next day he's fighting fit and he's doing okay. So,
roller coaster.
It is a roller coaster. He's a tough man. So at the moment he's doing okay, I just thank everyone for their thoughts and their well wishes. Aside from that, mate, for me, just business as usual, work and what have you. Looking forward to getting up to Queensland this weekend. Going to be a cracking weekend. Can't wait for that.
It's going to be awesome.
Yep. Mate, before we get into tonight's show, I just want to invite everyone, if you haven't already done so, to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to show your support for the streaming content that we create. Subscribing helps build the channel, and it puts you in the draw to win some exclusive Ruin Hammer merch whenever we reach a nominated subscriber milestone. Rob's sporting the Ivan Cleary shirt, and I've got one of our position shirts. I've got the props shirt on tonight.
We know where Uncle Ivan's heart really lies.
Absolutely, we do. So please subscribe to show your support. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our wonderful supporters and subscribers, particularly all of you wonderful YouTube subscribers and our awesome Patreon subscribers whose donations and support enables us to upgrade our visual presentation via StreamYard to bring you the content and the guests that you guys all enjoy so much.
Yeah, mate, I'd like to give our bronze Patreon tier members a shout out if I can. So massive thanks goes to Ken Mace, Don McCarthy, Richie Sterling, Dennis Danzo, Malcolm Earnshaw, Jermaine Downs, Nigel Inamete, Ken Wills, Lisa Marie Bateman, Alf Tuilave, Steve, Samoan Metalhead, Siala Afamasanga, Fabian Moroa, Peregrine Falconer, and Dennis Delore. We thank you guys so much for your ongoing support. We really appreciate it. Anyway, on to the game reviews because we've got 2 to get through tonight.
We do. I just want to give a shout out to the boys that have joined us. Ken's in the house. The Clough stuff, as always, is here. Sean Kurzweil's with us. So thanks, guys, for always tuning in and showing your support. Yeah, mate, 2 games to get through tonight, and we'll get through them as quickly as we possibly can. Let's cast our thoughts back to last Tuesday, which was the traditional ANZAC Day fixture between the Storm and the Warriors. The Warriors returning to Amy Park for the first time since that horror game last season. And, you know, despite a good showing by the Warriors, it ended up being the Storm 30 over the Warriors 22. For the Storm, it was Nick Meaney 2 tries, Olam Munster and Grant tries, Meaney 5 from 5 goals. And for the Warriors, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak 2 tries, Ford, Fanua Blake tries, and Johnson 3 from 4 goals.
Yeah, early on, it was the Warriors making the ideal start and a bit, as you said, to avenge that last year's 60-point shellacking. Jackson Ford, the man, powered onto a Dylan Walker pass. He crossed for his 2nd try of the year in just the 5th minute. And then 6 minutes later, the Warriors had a 2nd try when Chance Nickel-Klukstar, his slick hands put Dallin Watene-Zelezniak over on the right side, and Sean Johnson converted for a commanding 12-0 lead. And monster 40-20 kick by Munster in the 15th minute gave the Storm a chance to hit back, and Justin Olam delivered the 4-pointer. Fairly easy try there to make it 12-6 to the Warriors. But then no sooner had the Storm closed the gap than Adam Fanua Blake marched straight through the middle of the ruck, and he grabbed the Warriors' 3rd try of the match. And then it was back to that 12-point margin, 18 points to 6. Then Johnson gave away a penalty for going a metre, if that, over the goal line when he launched a dropout. And then the Storm made him pay immediately through a try to Munster, and the home side were back right in it. That was 18-12. Then Dylan Walker sent to the sin bin late in the first half for a head slam on former Warrior Eli Katoa, and a decision that was met, I think, with varying opinions, to say the least. And despite being a man down, the Warriors struck first in the second half when Adam Pompey delivered a superb pass for Dallin to grab his 2nd try in the corner. The margin was then back to 10. But then just 3 minutes later, and literally seconds before Dylan Walker was about to come back onto the field, the Storm hit back. Xavier Coates found space down the left, grubbered back inside, and Nick Meaney regathered to score his 6th try of the season. And then it was a barnstorming run by Olam, and a couple of 6-again calls put Melbourne on the front foot, and Meaney grabbed his 2nd try off a Jerome Hughes kick to put the Storm ahead 24-22 with 21 minutes to play and with minimal replays.
Yes.
Minimal replays. A contentious call with the replay showing Remus Smith had clearly touched the ball and knocked on the aerial contest. The referee and bunker oblivious to this, and with all the technology, we say it how often, all the technology we have available to us and all the camera angles and the ability to have a further look, and they didn't do it for some unknown reason. Yeah. So with Nickel-Klukstar failing a HIA, Jazz Tavanga hobbling off injured, and Bailey Sirenen forced off for a HIA as well, the Warriors were down to just 13 players for that final 10 minutes, and Harry Grant finished us off with a try, racing out a dummy half in the 76th minute, and they secured a 30-22 victory, but still plenty to like about our performance. How did you see that one, mate?
Yeah, the Clough stuff has said the ref was the key player for the Storm, and you know, you and I, we don't blame the ref for a lot of stuff, but there was just some calls in this game that were just a bit ridiculous. Yeah. I can't believe that they looked at that Remus Smith hand on the ball only once. You could see Remus Smith had some brown tape on his hand, and it was the hand that had the brown tape that touched the ball first. I don't know how that was allowed to try, and that was a key moment in the game because that got the Storm in front. They don't score there, and there's still 21 minutes to play, and we don't know how the rest of that game pans out. Yeah, because So for me, as you said, I thought our performance was quite good. It was one of those games. The Storm are always hard to beat at home, and they're always, they are a quality side. They have had a bit of a slow start to the season, but they are a quality side. And with Hughes, Munster, and Harry Grant all back, and Nelson Asafa Solomona was back for this game as well. I'm not disappointed in the effort, just disappointed in how the result went.
Yeah.
Because it was an even contest. We had it was a 50-50 share of possession. We completed at 89%, which was very, very high. But Melbourne had the better of the other attack stats. Like, they had more run meters than we did. They had more line breaks. They had more tackle breaks. They had more kick return meters. The missed tackles were quite even in 38-34. But yeah, mate, it was a hard loss to swallow because it was the better team didn't get the result on the day in that one. Some great individual performances though from a lot of our boys too. Mate, Dallin was great on the wing. Actually, all five of our back five all ran for over 100 meters, which was pretty good. I think the standout for me though was Adam Fanua-Blake up front. He was just phenomenal with his meters in that game. Nia Corey had a good impact in that game as well, and Bunty Afoa kind of came back to form in this game with played 56 minutes and got 114 run meters.
Very, very welcome return to form. Great to see him get longer minutes and have more of an impact because we know he's capable of it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Who was standout performers for you in this game?
I gave my in our Dean Bell medal tally points. I went 3 points for Adam Fanua-Blake. I thought he was massive, as you said, huge game, barnstorming try. He led the way. He's slowly getting back to the form that had him as one of the premier front rowers in the game. And it's been his form to start this year has been the best he's played in our jersey, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah. So he got my 3 votes. Nia Corey had a very good game as well, back into the side. And I'm just bringing up his stats. And he ran for 133 meters, 56 post contact, 34 tackles. His impact was good. He had some great runs. I was liking what he was doing, and he needed to step up as well with players dropping in the pack with Tohu and Jazz. So I think he stepped up to the plate. And Ed Cozzi got my 1 vote. I thought he was excellent at the back. He erased all the nightmares in my mind of the 70-10 performance last year, where he copped the brunt of the criticism. Aside from scoring, a couple of tries, I thought he was fantastic at the back. He ran for 138 meters as well and 36 post contact meters. Very safe and very solid at the back. So that's my 3-2-1 for the game.
Absolutely. The Clough stuff has made a couple of comments here. He said AFB looks incredibly fit and agile, and he does. He played 70 minutes in this game, and we're going to get onto the Roosters game where he played 75 minutes. So playing big minutes for a big man and getting through a massive workload. 177 meters, 56 post contact. He had 7 tackle breaks, a line break, 42 tackles with only 2 misses and a try. Absolutely outstanding. And the Clough stuff also says Lussick played well covering Wade Egan too. Yeah, he was. He came out with 53 tackles in that game, which was a game high, and just a massive performance from Freddie.
A couple of runs as well.
Yeah, a couple of runs out of dummy half as well. Mate, I gave my, like you, I gave my 3 points to Adam Fanua-Blake, and for the reasons that we said with his stats. Nia Corey playing 80 minutes. I gave him 2 points, I think. Yes, I did. 133 meters, 56 post contact, a tackle break, 34 tackles. And I gave my 1 point to Bunty Afoa. Bunty's been a little bit under pressure the past couple of weeks prior to this game, but he played 56 minutes in this game. He ran for 114 meters, 46 post contacts. The big thing for Bunty in this game was he pulled off 47 tackles, but with only 1 miss. Tackle efficiency of about 98%. So they were the points that I gave in this game. And So that means our Dean Bell points for this game, we gave full 6 to Adam Fanua-Blake, 4 to Murata Niokore, and Kossi and Afol both got 1 each. And we'll get to the running total a bit later on once we talk about this Roosters game, which was played on the weekend. Returned to Mount Smart in absolutely atrocious conditions, and I'm sure those that were there can lay testament to that. Both the Roosters and Warriors, both the Roosters and Warriors backing up after a 5-day turnaround. The Warriors now is somewhat of an injury crisis. Nickel Cloxton not available due to HIA protocol. Tohu Harris pulled out injured with that. He aggravated his knee injury. Tane Tuapiki, who was then named to replace Chance at fullback, he had to pull out because he picked up an injury in the New South Wales Cup game the week before. It resulted in a reshuffled back line. Dallin went to the fullback. I think Marcelo went back to a wing. Vili Valea came into the starting centre pack, and then Webby also reshuffled just to throw a bit of caution to the wind. He also reshuffled the forward pack with AFB moving to lock. Niokore moved to the front row. Josh Curran moved to an edge. The big news coming out of this game though was young Dimitri Sifikula, who really trialled really well for the Warriors in the trials earlier in the year, and he's been 18th man for the past 2 games before this one. He was promoted to the interchange bench, and he became Warrior 280 on the weekend. So congratulations to Dimitri. But yeah, mate, it was not the result we wanted. The Roosters 14 over the Warriors 0. Roosters with 2 tries, 1 to Nat Butcher, 1 to Satili Tupanua. Joseph Swatali'i 3 from 3 goals. Take us through what happened, mate.
Yeah, if I have to. So as you said, tries to edge forwards, Nat Butcher and Satili Tupanua, that set up the win in the wet and miserable conditions there for the Tricolours. And it was the defensive effort from Trent Robertson's men that set the tone throughout that contest. We enjoyed most of the field position throughout the afternoon, but we just couldn't come up with any points in attack. And the Roosters constantly repelled any raids that came their way. They seemed to they defended their line strongly, and they took their opportunities. To go back to the very start of the game, they took an early penalty goal before the Warriors could capitalise on any possession and territory, despite more than double the amount of tackles inside the visitors' 20-metre zone. And on a day like that, you think that any points are gold. You take the points when they're on offer. Quick play the ball close to the line enabled Victor Radley to find Butcher close to the line before the Warriors had more attempts to score points. But Jackson Ford fell short twice on the left edge, and that just added to our frustration. Then the Roosters took a 14-point lead when Brandon Smith placed the grubber for Tupanua, who was probably lucky to be on the field still at that stage, to collect and score to all but wrap up the win. And when it got out to, I think 8-0 was already a strong lead. I think we were saying at halftime, if it got out to anything more than that, we were in trouble, and we were. That wrapped up the win, and the conditions just got worse and worse in that final 20. And it's extremely difficult to play catch-up footy in those conditions when you need to try and throw the ball around. And unfortunately, we couldn't come up with the points. But here are some key stats from the game. So the Warriors had 53% of possession for the match and dominated territory, but couldn't come up with any points. Big try-saving plays from Victor Radley, Joey Manu, and Tedesco denied Warriors tries in that tense clash. Adam Fanua-Blake, he was enormous once again for the home side with 19 carries and over 170 metres in a huge stint. And then the Roosters have now won their past 7 games against the Warriors. They're becoming a bit of a bogey side for us. I think our last win against them was a game that you were at the old Sydney Football Stadium, which seems like a long time ago now, 2018.
Round 4, 2018. Remember it well.
They seem to just be one of those sides that we struggle with now. We can add that to the list, unfortunately. And the Warriors' loss was our first from 4 games in New Zealand this season. How did you see that one?
Yeah, I'm reading the comments as they're coming through. Jacko says our goal line attack was far too predictable. It was almost solely off SJ, and the Clough stuff said, yeah, it was SJ centric, the kind of attack that we're putting out there. It's mate. I mean, the weather conditions were atrocious, but both teams played in the weather conditions. We backed up after 5-day turnaround, but so did the Roosters. So, those kind of excuses go out the window. We just didn't capitalise on the opportunities that we had. Jackson Ford, I think, got held up over the line. He got held up over the line once. He dropped the ball over the line with Joey Manu coming in and knocking it loose, making that tackle. Josh Curran, a couple of runs off SJ, got pulled down short of the line. Then there was the one where Joshy chased through a kick that Tedesco ended up taking dead. There was the Dalawatini Zalesniak when he got that kick and ran towards the line, and I think it was Tedesco again that pulled him down short of the line. So for me, look, I thought our defence, our goal line defence again was quite good. The Roosters scored 2 tries, and they were opportunistic tries, but I thought our defence, when the Roosters were coming out of yardage, we allowed them to get upfield a little bit too easily and into our half.
Yeah, they were marching up the field.
Yeah,
they're dominating us.
I don't think we made too many fundamental errors, because of the wet conditions. It kind of took SJ's game out of it too, because SJ's been he's been able to get the ball and he's been able to kind of skip to the outside of the defenders and try and get guys into holes. He wasn't able to do that effectively because of the weather conditions. Yeah. There's a great comment there from Jacko talking about can't keep playing AFB for 75 minutes. He'll burn out later in the season. He was massive for us. 75 minutes in those conditions, heavy legs. It's just it was a disappointing result because the effort was there, but the execution, you can't fault the effort of the boys, but the execution just wasn't there. We're off our game a little bit, and as a result, we've now got that stat for the season. We're the first team to be held scoreless this season. It's the longest a season has gone we're into round 9. It's the longest a season has gone for a team to be held scoreless, and it becomes us.
Of course, it's us. Yeah,
mate. Yeah, as you said, we had more possession. We had 53% possession. We had more run meters. We had more tackle breaks. We had we won all those important attacking stats, but we just couldn't convert any of that into points.
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Yep.
Look, couple of contentious things coming out of this, and again, as I said, I'm not one to blame referees. And Webby was asked about it, and he gave the perfect response where
straight bat. Yeah.
That Satili Tupanua shoulder charge. He said, whatever happens there, whatever happened after that was on the team. That was them missing tackles and allowing that try.
Fair comment. Very fair comment.
It is a fair comment. But how he didn't get penalised for a shoulder charge. There was an incident a little bit earlier than that, though, when Wade Egan went down injured. I think he picked up a calf injury in a tackle. But when they showed the replay of that tackle, Tupanua hit him fair and square across the jaw. Now, any contact with the head has been a penalty all season.
Yeah. I love it how the ref just goes, "Oh no, it's his leg. Oh, it doesn't matter. He got whacked on head. It's his leg that's sore. So no, it's all good."
I know.
Yeah, it was that was a weird one. Yeah. As you said, contact with the head. Remember Magic Round 2 years ago? Any contact with the head was a send off.
I do, and let's remember that there was 11 sin bins and 2 send-offs, I think, at Magic Round that year. And there was a massive... We played Parramatta. And Roger was running down the sideline. He got smacked across the head by Mitch Moses, and it was play on. We were the only game against Parramatta that didn't have a...
we were the only game that didn't at least have a sin bin. Yeah,
mate. It was just... it was a tough afternoon out. Brad Inges said I saw him in the comments before saying it was atrocious. My hats go off to the Auckland crowd though. They sat there through that, watching that game. They even showed a guy in the pissing down rain sitting there eating a hot dog.
How soggy would that have been?
But,
look! If that was over here, Australia, everyone would have been running for the exits or all congregated up at the back of the grandstand there. But mate, you guys were there till the DB bitter end, as we say.
Absolutely.
And no, it's awesome. And even Shane Flanagan was rapping you guys on the call over here. So you can say what you like, but the Warriors fans are the heartiest in the competition.
They are
for staying to the end. Yeah.
They are, mate. How did you see Dallin's game shifting from the wing to fullback? He was pretty safe for us, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was outstanding. 163 meters, 47 post contact meters, and 2 tackle breaks. That's a great afternoon out.
Yep.
Like he did everything that was asked of him, and I'd have no qualms about him filling in at fullback at any stage. But I do prefer him out in the wing.
Yeah.
For his finishing ability, and like he still adds the run meters and that kind of thing, but it gave him sort of greater involvement.
Yes.
Yeah, showed what he can do.
Yeah, actually, all 5 guys again ran it for over 100 meters at the back. They're getting through a massive workload, aren't they? For us, the 5 that no matter which 5 it is that play,
yep.
The back 5 are really getting through work for us, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a bit of a not exactly a throwback to the Cannon Fuss days, but it's because those blokes were like literally 110 kilo wingers, like extra forwards. But it's so valuable what those guys add, like Ed, Dallin, and Chance, and whoever else is playing at the back there, chiming in. Even Adam Pompey.
Yep.
The bigger bodies getting in there and taking some of the pressure off the forwards.
Yeah, I've got to give credit where credit's due. Like we've been critical of Adam Pompey in the past, and we're 9 rounds into or coming into the 10th round, but we've played 9 games, and we've kind of been waiting for Adam Pompey to just capitulate and have some brain explosions. But
he's had moments here and there.
He has.
There's been a couple, but yeah, I know what you're going to say. Yeah, go
on. On the whole. He's been quite sound for us, particularly in defence.
Yes.
He's been very, very good defensively for us. But yeah, it's Sonny Kapur's just said with Montoya re-signed, does that mean Pompey is gone next season? Well, at this stage, Pompey and Bailey Sirinen are the only 2 in our top 17 that aren't signed past this season. Sorry, only 2 in our top 30. Not signed past this season, and Tane Tuapiki has an option in the club's favour for next year. So they're the only 3 that won't be here next season, which bodes well for continuity and keeping a squad together and working through. But yes, with and SJ, of course. Yes, sorry, I forgot about SJ. I'm just assuming
we're just assuming that he's going to be re-signed.
Yes.
You know what's interesting about Pompey, and I think we may have touched on this maybe last year or something like that, but I think he would transition well into the back row. Like he's that tall, sort of gangly type, could be awkward to tackle. I think he could be good on an edge. Who knows what happens? But it's hard to see him being retained as an outside back with the stocks that we already have. Yep. So unless someone like Viliami or Rocco Berry gets released, it's hard to see him being retained for that 30-man squad next year.
Yeah, especially with Roger coming, and one of either Roger or Chance is going to play in the centres, and by all reports, it's going to be Roger that moves into that centre role. It's the thing about moving Pompey into the back row, though, is we've got an abundance of back rowers.
Yes.
And we've got some good guys coming through from our junior stocks as well. Sifakula made his debut on the weekend.
Yeah.
He's an edge back row. You got guys like Zion Mayu. You got Jacob Laban. All these guys that are on the fringe and genuine good ball playing back rowers. I don't see where Pompey fits into where Pompey fits into the equation, and he could be.
I mean, he's the odd man out, I think, for mine. Unfortunately, like he's a good fella. We've had a little bit to do with him, and just like this year, everyone was surprised to see him get the nod. But he's as you were saying, he's done his job, been strong defensively, even giving try assists, which is not something he's known for. So.
No.
Yeah.
Mate, can we talk about Dylan Walker for a little bit? Dylan Walker, 126 run meters in this game, which is massive. 2 tackle breaks and offload, 16 tackles. Dylan Walker at 6. Do you think that experiment has gone past its due date now, and maybe a guy like Volkman should be coming in a genuine half, and we move Walker back to that interchange bench where he was so... we got so much out of him with his impact and his energy and his intensity when he came on at the 20, 25-minute mark in games. What's your thoughts on that possibly moving forward? Because I actually thought that we may see Volkman in first grade this week because he's been playing so well in the New South Wales Cup side. Your thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, personally, yes. I think it has... It's not a sustainable move. I'd love to see. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Volkman get another shot in first grade. Take a bit of pressure off SJ, particularly with the kicking. So one thing about Volkman is he's known to have a very good kicking game. I know we haven't seen a lot of it in his very brief first grade career thus far, but it would add another point of difference away from SJ. He wouldn't have to be doing all the kicking. Walker did a little bit, but he's just we just miss that bench impact, especially with Jazz out as well. I'd love to see him revert back to that role, but at the same time, I know what sort of Webby's thinking. Like Walker's an experienced player; he has played a bit in the halves, predominantly a running player. He has had some nice touches, like he put on that try for Jacko Ford early in the game against the Storm, but. I would prefer him back on the bench. Give Ronnie Volkman another run. Like, as you said, he's been killing it in reserve grade or New South Wales Cup. So hopefully that does happen a bit before the end of the season, just to give Ronnie a bit more exposure in first grade.
Yeah. You talk about kicking game because that's one thing at the moment that all the pressure is falling on Sean's shoulders. Like he's kicking for over 550 metres a game. On the weekend, he kicked for 691 kick metres compared to Walker's 60. It kind of puts pressure on him because the opposition know he's the only one that's going to be kicking, and his kicking game was on song. Like he put in a couple of good short kicks into the in goal in that game that gave the Warriors a bit of an opportunity. But I'm just reading what guys are saying here. There's a question. Braden Villiamy, I think he's signed for 3 years. I think it was a 3-year deal.
Oh, I was looking into this. I think it's only 2. I think it's only a 2-year deal. Yeah. Okay.
But he's there for next year. Jacko says, Metcalf back in at 6 soon. Hopefully, that we've seen vision of him at training. I haven't seen the team list for the New South Wales Cup this weekend. Actually, yes, I did. And he hasn't been named in that yet. So he's done a bit of running at training. So maybe I think Metcalf might get a couple of weeks in reserve grade before they throw him into first grade. Don't know when Tamari Martin's back. I think round 15, they said Martin will be
round
back.
15. Those hamstring injuries are terrible. I've had a very minor one. And, it can just be really hard to get rid of it. So you don't want to come back too soon, particularly with he's been out for what, 10, 12 weeks? With that, so you don't want to rush him back and then just re-injure it again.
Mate, Murata Niokore, he was moved from an edge into the front row. I thought he did a good job for us playing in the middle there. He had 141 run meters, 33 tackles, 58 post-contact meters. It gave a guy like Josh Curran the opportunity to come and move back to his preferred edge position. When you look at the stats of both our edge forwards, you see Jacko Ford ran for 106 metres as opposed to Curran's 40. Curran had a lot of short runs close to the line in this game. I was impressed with the defence of Curran. 41 tackles for only one miss. Ford had 43 tackles, but he had 8 missed tackles in that, which is not a good tackle efficiency rating.
No.
And then you have a guy like Adam Fanua-Blake who moved from front row to lock. I mean, it's still a middle forward position. Front row and lock are very similar these days. 75 minutes. Jacko mentioned it before. 194 run meters, 64 post contact, 3 tackle backs, 3 offloads, 34 tackles, and only 1 miss. An amazing amount of work for a big man of Adam's size and stature. I would say he's back up in probably the top 3 or 4 front rowers in the game now.
Yes.
This season. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, back to his form that he showed in the sort of the latter part of his Manly career.
Yep.
So real enforcer. He's been good for us for the last few years, but I think as I mentioned before, he's kind of really recaptured that impact and sort of dominating games now. That's 2 massive games back to back, and we need him as our forward leader.
Yes, absolutely. Some interesting. Tom Arley, he had a good run off the bench. He played 56 minutes, 128 run meters, 29 tackles. Tommy's really starting to find his place in this side, and he's one of those guys now that has stuck his hand up as to be a permanent fixture in the 7-8.
Every week. Those were his first missed tackles of the year as well.
Yes, 2 missed tackles.
Yeah,
which is understandable in wet conditions. He's getting better and better and more confident with every game, and I'm really happy to see him getting his opportunity because he had a big out of injury last year. I think he only played the last 4 or 5 games of the season, and he was only getting 5 and 6 minutes at the back end of games, but running for like nearly 70 meters in 5 minutes. He was he really showed that. He's a guy with a big heart and a big future, and I'm really glad that he's now getting his opportunity. Interesting that we didn't use Freddie Lussick at all on the weekend. Wade Egan played the full 80 minutes, which meant that Lussick didn't get any game time. Not surprising he's dropped off the bench for this week with that in mind, because we've got a guy like Sirinen that can kind of fill in and around that ruck area anyway. And young Sifakula, he played 37 minutes. I thought he gave a good account of himself. He only had the 24 run meters. He didn't have a lot of opportunity with the ball, but 14 tackles. I think, it was a good blooding for the young kid. And he's been picked up again this week as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, he's on the bench again. Well, he's been named on the bench again this week. Yeah, good for him to just get out there and, pardon the pun, soak it all in.
Yes.
Out in the middle there, it's just that was probably the most important thing for him, is to get out there and kind of feel like he belongs in first grade.
Yep.
So it'd be great to see him get a run on a dry track this week.
Sonny Kapoor says if Horsburgh and Tom Arley had a baby, it would be called Ginger Ale or Ginger Arley.
The Caboolture snake.
Yeah, let's not forget we've still got one of the Kepu twins too.
Yes,
Lingy Kepu.
He's out for the season. Yeah, he's out for the season. They did his ACL, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Speedy recovery to him, and we'll look forward to seeing him get some action next season.
Kalani Going must be close. So Kalani Going, I noticed he was named on the bench originally, and then he went back to 18th man, and Sifakula was named. And Rob and I were talking about this all week, saying surely Sifakula's got to get the nod. He's been 18th 30. Man for 2 weeks. Yep. But Going isn't in our top 30 at the moment. So I think
after round 10.
Yeah, after this round, guys like Going and Zion Mayu, Jacob Laban, they're guys that may be able to get a run if they're, because they're out of our top 30 squad. I'm not sure. Does anyone know what position Kalani Going plays? I thought is he a centre or is he a back rower?
I thought he was a back rower.
Okay.
I think I'm happy to be proven wrong if any of you
Yeah.
guys in the chat know. Yeah.
Chris Hardy says, are we getting enough out of Bunty? I just feel like he doesn't bend the line much and not much go forward. Feel free to call me out on that one. Don't know. Just me watching the games. We've spoken about Bunty a couple of times this season. Like, so against the Storm, he had 114 metres. He played 56 minutes. But then against the Roosters, he went back to only playing 30 minutes or 35 minutes and only 66 metres. Bunty's one of those guys. He runs very hard, but he's very one dimensional.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Fata Paliacina.
Just without the knees and everything happening.
Yeah. Like if he chose to run like that, he could be. He could be.
Is he a bit Marty? Is he a bit Marty Lang for you? Is he?
He could be a little bit muddy. Like he doesn't. He's very one dimensional. He doesn't have any late footwork at the line. He just picks a spot and he just runs straight at it.
I've been noticing lately. Yeah, like I've kind of been noticing lately, he's sort of stopping and then sort of dropping his shoulder into the line there instead of just running through. It reminds me of in under 14s when I'd run up to the line and then stop.
Full credit to him though. You got to think 2 years ago he was told that there was no place for him at the club, and he chose to stick around,
held his ground,
work hard, and
fight for his spot.
Yep, and played most of last season, and again is in the reckoning this season. Look, Bunty's one of those guys. He's a cult hero. He's a fan favourite. But yeah, for me, he could find himself down the pecking order as some of these younger guys come through. Maybe a little bit hungrier, like guys like Tom Arley. Like I'd be starting Arley ahead of Bunty at the moment. I just think we get more out of Tom Arley than we do from Bunty. Bunty's probably more effective because he's so one-dimensional. You bring him on at like 25 or 30 minutes once their forwards get a little bit tired and he's running at tired forwards rather than having Bunty run straight at, fresh forwards. Just my opinion. AFB needs to give Bunty a few lessons in the hip movement. Absolutely.
Shakira.
Mate, who were your 3-2-1s for this game?
Okay, so my 3 votes went to the man AFB for all the reasons that we've discussed. He's killing it at the moment. 2 went to Wade Egan. It was great to see him back. He just adds so much more to our team there at dummy half, a bit more of a running game. He looks threatening every time he runs as well. And he's picking the right times to run at the moment, which is really good. And he made, what was his tackle count? It was, 45 tackles as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so he was involved in everything. And Sean Johnson got my 1 vote. He did everything he could to try and get us the win. His kicking game was on point despite the conditions, and he's continued on his rich vein of form. How about yourself?
Yeah, for me, mate, I same as you. I went AFB for the full complement of 3 points. Absolutely outstanding. 75 minutes in those conditions, 194 run meters and the 34 tackles. Fully deserved the points. I gave Sean 2. Sean Johnson the 2 points. I just thought we looked more like looked dangerous when Sean had the ball in hand. He put in a couple of really good kicks to try and get us, points or repeat sets. His kicking game, as I said, 691 kick meters. Nearly pulled off a rare 20-40 in that game as well.
Yes.
Just the bounce of the ball. And he did everything that he possibly could to get us into that game. He put it, guys like Jackson Ford and Josh Curran into holes. They weren't able to capitalise on that. And my 1 point, I went to Dallin. I thought Dallin was outstanding, shifting from the wing to fullback. He hasn't played fullback since probably when he was back at Penrith.
Maybe a bit of the Bulldogs.
A fair while back. Yeah. So, I'm not sure. Yeah, he might have played at the Bulldogs. But, I think he did really, really well. So I gave him the 1, which means that Adam again got the full complement of 6 points. Sean with 3, Wade Egan with 2, and Dallin Wateni Zalesniak with 1, which means there's been a bolter up the ladder of our overall Dean Bell medal tally. Sean Johnson still ahead on
Ooh.
23 points, closely followed by Adam Fanua-Blake on 22.
Coming to get him.
Tohu with his missed games, he remains on 15. Chance remains on 14. Wade Egan up onto 9. Jazz Tavanga 7. Jackson Ford 5. Niokore and Kosi on 4. Montoya on 2. Ale Afoa and DWZ all on 1. Mate, let's look ahead to this week's game. Magic Round. We've got a lot to talk about with Magic Round. The opening game of Saturday, we're playing the reigning premiers, the Penrith Panthers. Do you want to go through the team list, mate, and we'll discuss it in detail?
Yeah, I'd love to, mate. The team that Webby named on Tuesday was Chance returning a fullback, Dallin back on the wing with Ed Kosi and Marcelo Montoya, Adam Pompey in the centres. Dylan Walker again named at 5'8", alongside Sean Johnson at halfback. Adam Fanua-Blake, Wade Egan and Bunty Afoa named to start in the front row, with Jackson Ford and Marata Niokore on the second rowers, and Tohu Harris. Great to have him back at number 13. The lock forward position on the bench, Bailey Sirinen, Josh Curran, Demetrik Sefakula is been named again, and Tommy Ale. The extended bench consisting of Freddie Lussick, Tane Tuapiki, Billy Valea, Ronnie Volkman, and Kalani Going. Two massive ins there in the form of Tohu Harris and Chance. Great to have those guys back. We need all troops back on deck when we're taking on the reigning premiers. And other than that, I as we touched on before, it would be nice to see, will be interesting to see if there is a late change, any shuffling there on the bench, perhaps. As we were talking about, Ronnie Volkman could possibly come in with Dylan Walker going back to the bench. I don't think that will happen, but I can see. I'm just hoping that Tohu comes through his fitness test, which I believe he has to get through a fitness test on Saturday morning. And fingers crossed, because he adds so much to our team in attack and defense. And have the inspirational leader out there would be massive and help our chances taking on Uncle Ivan's boys. What do you think, mate? How do you see that team?
Look, as you said, mate, great to see both Tohu and Chance named. I actually thought Chance was, like, Saturday was the 11th day for his HIA. So I don't know whether that's 11 days and you can play, or whether they had to get permission to play him. There's been nothing in the media, but he's been named, and nothing's been said about him not being named. And Eli Katoa's been named for the Storm on the same day as well. And he went off with the HIA, Grade 1, Category 1 HIA in the same game. So, great to see Chance back. As you said, good to see Tohu back. He adds so much to the team in just not only with his leadership and his stability and keeping a lot of those young guys calm, but, his run meters in his defence this year has been absolutely outstanding. I don't think Volkman will come in. I think it'll be if everyone's fit and healthy. I think the 17 that he's picked is probably the best 17 that we can go into this game with.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to have to be on our game. Nathan Cleary's going to, he's got a fantastic kicking game. The thing that Penrith have that the Warriors don't have is they've got a couple of points of difference with kicking because Luai will take some of that kicking responsibility as well. Crichton can kick. And Dylan Edwards can kick. So they've got a couple of guys in that team that can put some kicks in. So our back five, particularly our back three, have to be, on their game. And, we have to do – the guys in our forward pack have to do more to help AFB. We can't let him carry that load. James Fisher-Harris comes back into this game for the Panthers as well. So they're at full strength in their front row with Fisher-Harris and Moses Leota. Spencer Leniu should be back as well. He's been named on the extended bench. He, if fit, I expect he will come onto the bench. So he is another point of difference for those boys. We spoke about it before, but I think Walker's impact off the bench has been missing for us. Tom Arley's been giving a good account of himself coming off the bench, though. but it's just not the same as that smaller body of Walker with all that intensity and energy that he brings. One thing we have to improve on, again, we had another slow start on the weekend. People aren't, like, we're not talking about it, but our first set, Marcelo Montoya coughed the ball up on the third tackle, and we handed over possession pretty early. We need to stop, giving away these stupid penalties early in a game or poor handling. We need to really secure the ball, control the ball, get into the game early, because if we give Penrith a head start, we're not going to be able to run Penrith down.
No way. It's very strong defensively.
Yep. And we've got to ice those scoring opportunities. We may only get 3 or 4 opportunities to score tries. We can't afford to squander them. We've got to make sure that if we get an opportunity where a guy's in a hole, we've got bodies around the ball. We give them, some support players to pass to if need be. But, we've got to make sure that every time we go close to scoring, we actually score. We've got to convert those opportunities into points. Penrith. When was the last time Penrith had 2 straight losses? Looking down the barrel of a third.
2019.
There you go. It's in saying that, though, they've got some injuries. I think they underestimated how much they were going to miss Api Coruscant and Viliami Kikau, and a guy like Mitch Kenny playing hooker, and even Sony Luke when he comes in is not what Api Coruscant was doing for the Panthers. Kikau's not there. They've tried a couple of different guys on an edge. They've had Garner, they've had Hosking, a few other guys that they bring in. They're not Kikau. Liam Martin's injured. Jerome Luai looks a little bit off the ball at the moment. Too much people claiming him now as their daddy, with a couple of losses. Nathan Cleary's under an injury cloud. He's not even goal kicking at the moment because of a quad or a hamstring injury. No Taylor May on the wing. No Isaac Tungo in the centres. They're not the indestructible Penrith outfit that they have been for the past 2 years. They're still a quality side, don't get me wrong, but they've got more holes in them now than they have in previous years. And I know they haven't lost 3 in a row often, but I think they're right for the taking. I think if we can get our fair share of possession and control where we turn over possession to them, which will be Johnson's kicking game coming to the fore, our good kick chase, limiting our errors, limiting the set restarts that we give away and where we give them away. I think we've got a real good opportunity to get them here. I'm excited for this one. I really am. And we did say a couple of weeks ago, with the 3 games, the Storm, the Roosters, and the Panthers, we really needed to not lose all 3 of these. We needed to have a win at least in one of these. And we've got the Bulldogs the following week, and then we got the bye. So it'd be really good if we can kind of turn these next 3 weeks into 6 points. And it starts this week with Penrith and the Clough stuff. We target Peachy and just bully him all day. Absolutely. He's their weak link.
As he's bullied us in the past, though. He's scored a hat trick against us, and he got a few tries against us in our last finals appearance against them. But yeah, you're right. There's a few chinks in the armor, and we're seeing their mortality. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
The boys are talking about Sony Luke. Did Sony Luke get suspended, or did he not get suspended for whatever it was, the hip drop tackle that he did last week? Was that not a hip drop tackle? Did he not get suspended?
Is this
anyone know?
Is this Mr. Rugby League saying we need our best players playing and we don't want to punish the fans type thing again?
He got fined. Of course he did. It's a Panthers player. It's just like Taylor May being allowed to play the finals last year and have his suspension served this year when he's injured.
We can't punish the fans, mate.
No.
You've got to have the best players playing.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Mate, what's your pick for this one? Do you a close Warriors win?
Yeah, for all the reasons that you mentioned, and it'd just be bloody good to get a win over Penrith. It's been a long time since we have, and the point that you made before, it's an enticing sort of little carrot that's being dangled over us. Because if we get the win here, and we can get a win against the Bulldogs the following week, which won't be a given, won't be an easy game, no easy games. They're starting to play well. Also, they'll be getting players back, and then going into the bye. So you're right, like there's 6 points there, kind of up for grabs, and a strong performance of Magic Round would really set us up and could really set up our season, get us back on track after those couple of losses that we've had. So look, we just have to cut down those stupid errors coming out of our own end. We need to match them physically. Like we've been dominated in the yardage pretty much all season, and I think the whole tactic is that the guys are fit and mobile, so we see out that early sort of period, and then we come back to get them at the back end of the game. So yeah, but we have to start well. We have to cut out the errors, cut out the set restarts, all that kind of thing, and defend well. And yeah, I think if we finish the game with more points on the board than them, then we're a good chance of winning.
The Kurt says hopefully the referees are free from bias, though. I think we've got the Shermanator this week.
We do. Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay. He hates us.
Sherman.
I like what Jacko says here. Given that 5 of the 7 teams above us on the table have had a bye, we're sitting okay. And I agree. It's kind of a interpretation of the ladder at the moment, isn't it? Because of when teams have had buys and who's had buys and who hasn't. I agree. I think we are sitting quite well. Mate, let's get a look at these other games of Magic Round, shall we?
Yes, so Magic Round, it all kicks off on Friday, 5th of May, and that's the Bulldogs versus the Raiders. For the Bulldogs, Braden Burns has been added to the Bulldogs injured list with an MCL injury. Jacob Carraz makes a return from injury a week ahead of schedule and slots straight back onto the wing. Max King returns after a late withdrawal last week. Franklin Pele named on the interchange bench alongside teen sensation Carl Olapu. And for the Raiders, Xavier Savage returns from injury, but he's been named on the wing with Seb Chris keeping the fullback spot. Albert Hopewadi, the man to make way for Savage. Ata Mariota named on the bench with Corey Harawira-Naira moving back to the extended bench. I'm going to have to go with the Raiders in this one. I think they'll just have a little bit too much there for the Bulldogs. Raiders 1-12.
I've tipped the doggies 1-12, mate. I'm on the Dogs.
Okay. Up next, the grudge match, the Seabold Cup. Seems the man himself returning to the scene of the crime back at Suncorp Stadium. We got the Sea Eagles versus the Broncos, and the Broncos are the away team here, if you can believe that. This counts as an away game for them at Magic Round, considering 90% of the crowd will be cheering for them. Or maybe not 90. There'll be a lot of Manly fans there. There always are. But, big changes for the Sea Eagles. Tom Trbojevic, he returns after missing last week's loss for the Titans. Brad Parker and Tolatau Kula, they return from injury and have been named in the centres, pushing Garrick back to the wing. And Tuipolotu to the extended bench, and Harper out of the 22 squad. Jake Trbojevic, he has not been named due to a calf injury, and Sean Kepi is his replacement. Toff Sipley is suspended, which brings Aaron Woods and Ben Trbojevic into the 17. And the TB122 owner, Josh Schuster, not named again. So he'll have to have another week on the TB122.
Yeah, he'll get his
and for the
mileage
Broncos, that's it. And for the Broncos, massive inclusions of Payne Haas and Ezra Malm. They both returned from suspension and are the only changes for the Broncos. Keenan Palacia, he moves back to the interchange bench, and Jock Madden to the extended bench. I think the Broncos are going to have a fairly comfortable win here, at least by 20.
Yeah. Broncos definitely 13 plus, and a lot more. Saturday,
the away Broncos.
The away Broncos, yep. Well, they've been away at Suncorp twice because they're the away team when they played the Dolphins. So,
and they only leave Queensland like another 3 times this year.
Yeah, I know. Schuster is still in fat camp. He's also in little boy little boy school camp too. He got pissed off because someone knocked him about his haircut. Like it caused a fight at training. There's actually talk. I don't know if you're getting it up there in Queensland or if you guys are getting it in the media in New Zealand, but there is actually talk that the Tigers are now looking to do a swap deal to get Schuster to the Tigers and swap a player over to Manly. So, watch that space.
That'll be a king sulk from Schuster if he pulls the pin after that kind of thing. But, mate, the bloke just never looks fit. As Chaco was saying,
no.
Bit Hurrell, like drive past Macca's and put on a couple of kilos.
How about him though? He pulled out of the World Cup last year to do the preseason to get himself fit, and he come back bigger than he was last season. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, back to fat camp for you.
Yeah. Okay, Saturday, the 6th of May, first game of Magic Round, Warriors versus Panthers. As we said, the Warriors, Chance Nickel-Clockster, he's been named to return at fullback. DWZ returns to the wing, Montoya to the centres, and Vili Vailea to the extended bench. Tohu Harris has also been named. Josh Curran moves back to the interchange bench, and young Dimitri Sifakula retains his spot on that interchange bench following his debut last week. For the Panthers, James Fisher-Harris returns from injury in a straight swap in the front row for Matt Iversenhuth, who is out with a shoulder injury. Spencer Lenier listed on that extended bench and could be a late inclusion pending a fitness test. Mate, I said last night when we were on Hold the Ball show, if Tohu Harris plays, Warriors by 7. If Tohu Harris doesn't play, Warriors by 1 in Golden Point.
Yeah, I'll take either of those. I'm going to say a very nervous 4-point win to the Warriors. You might see me pacing around the grandstands somewhere in Suncorp Stadium.
Yep.
It's I'm going to back the boys. I think we can get a win.
All right, the second game is the Battle of the Finns, the Sharks versus the Dolphins. Apparently, it's the first time that two aquatic animals have played each other in a game of NRL rugby league, they're saying. It's also Wayne Bennett's 900th game as coach.
900th?
900th game as coach.
Unreal.
Amazing. For the Sharks, Braden Hamlin-Ueli is out with an MCL injury, which means Royce Hunt comes straight in as his replacement in the starting front row. Dale Finucane returns from suspension at lock. That seems so long ago. That was in the game against the Warriors he got suspended.
Yeah, it must have got 3 weeks.
Cam McInnes moves back to the interchange bench. For the Dolphins, Ray Stone, he's unavailable after failing his HIA last week. Tessie New returns from injury on the wing at the expense of Robert Jennings, who's still trying to find the try line from the other week. Anthony Milford and Mason Teague have both been named to return from injury via the interchange bench. Mate, can't go past Nico Hines and the red-hot Sharks at the moment. I think the Sharks will do a number on them too. I think it's going to be a big score.
Yeah, I think the Sharks will be the team with their fins up. And yep. I'm picking my little buddy Pre-Jack to get a hat trick, provided he remembers to keep his hand inside the dead ball line or touching goal line.
Absolutely. And the last game, what a blockbuster this is. The Storm versus the Rabbits to finish off Saturday night at Magic Round. No changes to that Storm side who beat the Warriors on ANZAC Day after they had the bye last round. Of course they did. The Rabbits. Liam Knight, he returns to the team, named on the interchange bench with Davey Moala, the man to miss out on selection. No other changes to our Red Hot Bunnies outfit. Mate, I'm going to tip the Bunnies, and I think the Bunnies are going to do it a lot easier than people think. I don't think this game is going to be as close as people think. I've tipped the Bunnies to win the comp, so I'm right on them at the moment. I reckon Campbell Graham, maybe not a treble this week. I think he'll get a double, and Latrell Mitchell a double as well.
Yeah, I think the Rabbitohs will get the job done as well. I'm going to go Rabbitohs by 12. They'll continue on their hot form. They're building nicely this year. So, yeah, I'll stick with them. And from one of the games of Magic Round to Sunday, and we have the Tigers and the Dragons. I'm surprised this isn't the blockbuster TV game. At least, hey, small mercies, guys. This isn't the TV blockbuster game.
Yeah.
So if you aren't there, you don't have to worry about Channel 9 rolling out the red carpet for the Tigers again. For the Tigers, Brent Naden, he's accepted a 3-match ban, meaning Tommy Talau has been named in the centres. Asu Kapoa returns from illness. He's named on the interchange bench. From the Dragons, Anthony Griffin has wielded the axe. Zach Lomax dropped to New South Wales Cup. And Jacob Little and Toby Couchman on the extended bench. Max Finai moves from the wing to the centres, and Makali Ravalawa returns from injury onto the wing. Moses Mbai replaces Little at hooker. And Jaden Sewer returns from injury, and Billy Burns and named in the back row with Jack Bird moving to lock. Geez, who do you pick in this one? I'll stick with the Dragons. I think it'll be close. I think Dragons by about between 1 and 6 points. I just feel they'll have a little bit too much firepower for the Tigers, but who knows?
Saying it in the comments there, mate. Yeah. Rumour is that Ben Hunt will move to hooker, Mbai will go back to the bench, and I think Jaden Sullivan will come in and start at halfback.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of that is a moot point anyway, because I think the Tigers, now that they've had a sniff of victory, I think the Tigers are going to go on a bit of a run now. And it starts. I actually picked, when I looked at the draw and the Tigers were having so much trouble to win a game, I actually picked that this would be the first game that they won this year when they played the Dragons at Magic Round. So they got it a week early against the Panthers. They'll be buoyed by that. If they play that long game again and just play smart footy, they'll be all over the Tigers, the Dragons. I'm going to pick the Tigers, and I think they'll do it 1 to 12. I'd say.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Okay, moving on. Roosters versus Cowboys. So the Roosters, Paul Momirovski is out with a shoulder injury, and Drew Hutchison named as his replacement in the centres. Brandon Smith has been named despite spending Sunday night in hospital with a neck complaint. Jake Turpin named as cover on the bench. Jared Warrior-Hargraves, he returns from being rested last week, forcing Matt Lodge back to the bench. For the poor old Cowboys, Jeremiah Nene is unavailable due to his suspension. Hilam Lukey, a handy replacement, returning from injury to fill that void. Chad Townsend is under an injury cloud, but he has been named. And Kuli Kitu, Finefe Uaki. Apologies if I have butchered that one, but he has been named.
Your Tongan's pretty good, mate.
The Tongan's all right. Yeah, sweet. Cheers, Toko. Named to make his NRL debut from the bench. So, Cowboys are in a world of hurt at the moment. The Roosters will be buoyed after taking the points off us across the Tasman. I think Roosters by 20.
Roosters by 1,000.
1,000.
Just want to address the Kirch. The Kirch says, Hammer, does Juan follow rugby league again after last week? Mate, my Facebook was going nuts last week with him posting Tiger shit everywhere. He's back.
Big time.
He is back. One more game, mate. Last game.
Oh, yeah, sorry, my bad. Of course there is, and that's the Titans versus Eels. And the Titans, AJ Brimson, unavailable due to a hamstring injury. Jaden Campbell, named to start at fullback. Cruz Leeming, the new man on the bench, and Kieran Foran has been named despite finishing last week's game under an injury cloud. For the Eels, Bailey Simonson returns from his HIA in round 8 and replaces Sean Russell in the centres. New recruit Andrew Davey has been named on an edge. Ryan Madison and Bryce Cartwright both named on the interchange bench. I'm going to stick with what I said on the Hold the Bulls show last night. I'm picking an upset here. I'm going to go the Titans in a close one. I don't know why, but yeah, I can just smell an upset. Yeah,
I'm the same. I mean, the Titans they're like Manly. They're so hot and cold, but I think a guy like David Fifita's really turned the corner this year. We spoke about it this last night. He's doing a lot of those hard stuff that they need him to do, the hard carries. He's getting in, doing some defensive work. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just thinking. I've just got a feeling that the Titans are going to win. Let me just say too, for everyone that is going to jump on me and tell me that I'm an idiot and Parramatta will win. My tipping this year has been sensational. Last week I got 3 from 8. So take that as you will.
And
Newcastle.
of course, we must mention the Newcastle Knights have them bye. And apparently they've gone on a team trip. Do you know anything more about that?
They're playing the Balinese. What's the capital of Bali? I don't know. They're playing the Balinese boys. They jumped on a plane and gone to Bali.
Well, Bali's the city in Indonesia or the province or whatever. Yeah.
Well, that's where they've gone. They've gone on a holiday to Bali. I think that's just a big FU to the NRL about not being at Magic Round. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Because the Magic Round draw came out in November, and it was only this week that the Knights actually arced up that they weren't playing at Magic Round. It's almost as if they didn't know.
So what? Well, so when's our game? They're just looking through the list. Oh, exclusion.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yes. And speaking of Magic Round, don't forget the Warriors pre-game meetup at the Lord Alfred Hotel. That is starting at 12 p.m. So make sure you're there. Yeah. We have got, there's so much happening, mate. There's going to be, because we're going to be there. Other Warriors content creators are going to be there. You can meet Arpai, Warriors NRL Fanatics, Warriors Anonymous are going to be there. The Warriors, like Cam George and some of the other staff are going to be there as well. I believe Jackson Thomas, who does the Warriors official podcast. We've got ex-players. So we've got Big Tooks, we got Campo, we got the good Dr. Jason Deeth coming along for that one as well. We've got prizes. We've got chats with former legends. We've got everything.
We have.
So make sure you're there.
Absolutely. There's going to be some giveaways on the day. It's a free event. Let's say that first. It is free to all Warriors fans. So anyone who's going to Magic Round, come along Saturday, the Lord Alfred Hotel, which is on Petrie Avenue.
Yeah, it's the top of Caxton Street. So, the corner of Petrie Terrace, Caxton Street. You can't miss it up the top there.
Can't miss it. We're
upstairs,
in the private room upstairs. Yep. So let them know you're there for the Warriors event. We've got some Ruin Hammer merch that we're going to be giving away during the day. The Warriors have come to the party there. We've got a lot of the Warriors management and staff coming along, and they're going to be supporting us. They're going to have some prizes for us to give away as well. As Rob said, we're going to do a bit of a Q&A with a couple of Warriors legends. You're going to get the opportunity to meet all the content creators, the Warriors content creators. As Rob said, Arpai from Hold the Ball, Christian from Warriors NRL Fanatics is going to be there. Jared from Warriors Anonymous is going to be there. This whole thing has been put on and organised for a great man, Richie Morgan, who is the man behind Warrior Nation. For those that don't know who Warrior Nation is the unofficial Australian-based Warriors fan base here in Australia. Richie's kind of been driving this since 2011. We've done this event now. This is going to be our third year of doing the event. Richie's worked really, really hard to get the venue upstairs, better AV equipment, got the Warriors contributing, the Warriors Club contributing with prizes and so forth. You can bring the missus. She isn't a Warriors fan, though. I know. Isn't she a Melbourne fan, bro? I thought last year she had
I thought she was a Donkeys fan.
Was she?
Broncos? Wasn't she Broncos?
Oh, I can't remember. But make sure you get there. So Richie's done a real lot of work to get this. Unfortunately, he can't be there. Yeah. He's done all this work, and his work is scheduled a trade show in Melbourne, and he's got to go to Melbourne. Sam Revel will be there, but he won't be up there talking, mate. It's a Warriors event. We're not having Cowboys guys up there. No, this is everyone is welcome to come, but it's purely Warriors content creators that are going to be up there
100% Warriors.
Doing their thing. Yep. So make sure you're there at 12 upstairs. We'll be giving away some tickets for some prizes. You'll get to scan a QR code to go in the draw to win some other prizes. A lot of things happening. Going to be a great day. 12 o'clock, it'll kick off, and we'll wrap it up at about 2:30, which will allow everyone to make the pilgrimage down Caxton Street over to Suncorp Stadium to watch the Warriors take on the Panthers. And then after that, we may end up back up there. Depending
And
on,
even if you guys don't have tickets for the game, like, mate, still come along. There's going to be a
yes,
huge group of community of fans that are going to be watching the game from the Lord Alfred, or you can go down to the stadium. They've got the game on the big screen outside there. There's like a whole sort of festival, carnival atmosphere down there. So even if you don't have tickets, it's still worthwhile, absolutely worthwhile coming along, hanging out with all the Warriors faithful.
absolutely.
Yeah, so don't miss out if you don't have a ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's going to be a really good day. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be a long day for us.
Yeah.
Because we've been, now that Richie's not going, so we're kind of hosting the whole day. So we're going to get there early, have to do all the setup and what have you. So, yeah, going to be a big day, but, mate, it's well worth it, isn't it? It's such a great event. We've met some wonderful people. We met the Clough stuff there last year.
Yeah, that was the first time we met. Yeah, the Clough stuff.
Yep. And ever since that day, he's been constantly following us, and we follow his stuff on social media as well. Good man, the Clough stuff. Great man.
Yeah. Looking forward to catching up with you and everyone else there on Saturday.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So don't forget, as always, we do have our live shows coming up. So next Wednesday, the 10th of May, we'll have our live game review of this week's Magic Round clash against the Panthers. And then we'll have a preview of the following week against the Bulldogs. And we're also going to be uploading our pre-recorded content on a regular basis. So that will be our NRL round review, which is normally on YouTube for you guys every Monday. So that's why it's important that you subscribed so you can watch that the second that it's uploaded. Absolutely.
And we're still working on getting some guys on the channel in the next couple of weeks as well. We're just in constant discussions with trying to tee that up, and it's just the logistics of it all and making sure that they're available. Before we wrap it up for the night, again, I just want to acknowledge and thank our wonderful supporters, you guys who subscribe to our YouTube channel and tune in and watch us every week, and our Patreon supporters for their continued support. If you do want to show your appreciation and support, you can head to our Patreon page to subscribe to our bronze tier general support level, or our silver or gold tiers, which include supporter merchandise and other benefits as well. Make sure you jump on and have a look at our Patreon stuff.
Yeah, and another way that you guys can support us as well is if you head on over to our Redbubble store, and you can get yourself some fantastic Ruin Hammer merchandise. So the address, the link there is on the screen, and it's in the video as well. If you want to grab yourself a shirt honoring our past and present legends, we got shirt honoring all the greatest players in every position, honoring great games. We've just done a Up the Waz shirt, and it's already our best-selling shirt thus far. So
yeah,
go in and check that out. Celebrating some of the great moments that we've already had this year.
Yep.
And
We got a lot of shirts for this year's players. We got the Tohu Harris, Chance Nickel Kluxter, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, Josh Curran, Adam Fanua Blake,
Jackson Ford, Montoya, Wade Egan. We got shirts for all those guys.
Jazz
so you
Tafanga,
can.
We've got a Twins of Terror shirt, and we've also got in Webby We Trust shirt that's just been released as well.
Yeah. So we had a few requests for an Andrew Webster design, so we got one of those up there in Webby We Trust. So jump onto the Redbubble store, have a look. They've always got specials going on there. So if something tickles your fancy, and it's just another great way that you can sort of help support us with what we do here as well.
Absolutely, it is.
Well, that's it for tonight's show. Thank you so much to all you guys in the chat. We really appreciate you guys being there every week. All you guys that continue to support us in Ruin Hammer, it is very much appreciated, and we can't wait to catch up with many of you on Saturday. Get there nice and early so we can all have a few drinks and enjoy a bit of company and banter before we head down to the game.
Yeah, make sure you bring your Warriors merchandise that you own for the boys to sign as well. Campo and Tukes and Dr. Death. For those that are travelling to Brisbane this week, whether it be from New Zealand or anywhere from around Australia, be safe, travel safe on the roads and in the air. Look forward to seeing you all there. Can't wait. Bring on Saturday. It's going to be awesome. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you Saturday.
Thanks a lot, guys. Catch you then.